This relationship empowers me to not even think on my own. He says, apart from me, we read earlier, you can do nothing. But with me, you can do all things. Listen, he so wants to be involved in every aspect, element, like of our lives, that we are so aware of him in everything we do that there's never a moment where I am separated. I am apart. I'm thinking on my own. Do you know that God doesn't want you to think on your own? He doesn't want you to have to figure out a situation on your own. He doesn't want you to have to labor and go through this life on your own. He paid a price so that you can have accessibility to him, his wisdom, his power, his love for you, so that you do all things in him, in his power. He has endless strength. We don't. He has endless wisdom. We don't. He has endless tenacity. He doesn't want us to be overran by anxiety and sickness and depression. These things don't produce fruit that bear forth life and gladliness and excitement and consistency in regards to doing good and being excited about life. Let me ask you, friend, are you excited about life? Because he wants you to be. He is life. He is not the epitome of life. He is the way, the truth, and the life. The psalmist says, oh, taste and see. And I'm challenging you today. Taste and see in this confident, filled relationship that is empowered to please God always. I want to challenge you in that. Okay? He tells us, abide in my love. Don't move from it. Don't think you have to go higher. No. There's no higher calling than to be called into this love and called into this relationship. You are very precious to God, right? You are very precious to God. He wants us to go through life being unoffended, not being afraid. Those things do something to us. He doesn't want us, you can't be free and have fears and phobias, right? He doesn't want you to have those. He wants you to take off those garments and put on the garment of Christ, put on the garment of praise, where when you lift your hands, when you lift your hands, you're saying thank you, and it's intentional and it's sincere. Do you hear me? That's what he wants for us. That's what he wants for us. I'm convinced. Let's go to John chapter 8. And we also must remember that he is the example. He came and demonstrated a life for us that once we would be reunited in him, that we too would live the same life that he did. He tells us first to deny ourselves, pick up our cross, and follow him. And the Bible says, for the joy set before him, he endured the cross. Do you know that you can go through situations and have pure peace, pure excitement, pure joy, not about what you're enduring, not about what's happening to you, but about his love for you. His love is the sustainability. It's the empowerment that fuels every cell of our lives. This is not the law of thermodynamics. This is the truth of Jesus. He empowers and infuses his love and power and strength into every cell, every organ, every fiber of our being, to where we're running with a confidence. Why? Because we're abiding in his love. It doesn't fade. It doesn't dwindle. Not at the mistakes we make. Not at the, oops, I did it again like Britney Spears. No, if that happens, dust yourself off in him. Remind yourself of he loves you. Remember, he paid so that you can have access to him. No matter what, run to him. You listen, friend, you don't have to run to that bottle. You don't have to run to that vape pen. You don't have to run to that bar. You don't have to run to sex or to porn or to your job to escape. You can run to Jesus. And I know from experience you feel weird and all these things. That's not his love. When you feel loved, you feel empowered. Look at children. When children know that they are loved, they will make a mistake and they will come, they will get that hug, and they'll go right back out. There's no shame in a child in receiving. Children receive love quite well. We teach them through our, what we call correction, on how to, we mold and shape them, right? But if you just look at a child does not have an issue with receiving love. That's how he wants us to be. He said, unless you become like a child, okay? We have to become children, his children, to where we never grow old. We can always be a child at heart in him, because he doesn't require us to grow up and be adults. He just wants children. He's a great father, people. John chapter 8:29 reads this. He says, and he who sent me is with me. He has not left me alone, for I always do the things that are pleasing to him. But look at what he tells us. He sent him, and then Jesus says, I know I'm not alone. That's the confident, filled relationship. Now here's the empowerment. For I always do what pleases him. I always do the things that are pleasing to him. You see that? But first he let us know that the Father has sent me, and I am never alone. I am never alone. I am never alone. Do you know that being alone is just a feeling? And who told us that what we feel is always true? Have you ever wanted something to eat and you got what you thought you wanted only to have a stomach ache? We've all been there, right? You thought you wanted it and it hurt. And you were like, I wish I would have never ate that. Well, that's not Jesus. Jesus is like, hey, eat this. And you never have a pain, you never have a hurt, you never have a headache, you never have a, right? Just pleasing, just refreshing, right? Our feelings are deceptive. They're not always true. But he and his word is always true. And I challenge you, if you don't believe this, taste and see that Jesus' words are true. Take his words true. Read this word. Get along with this book. Turn off the TV. Set your phone aside. Get away from people. Go on a walk and open up the words of Jesus and read them as though he is talking to you. And then come back and you tell me how that impacted you. We'd love to hear from you. Again, we at the Altura, we're doing this because we love you. We love the body. We love everybody that God created. And the short amount of time we have in this thing called life, we want to encourage you to run on in the truth of what transforms. So this is a foundation for us understanding what Christianity is. I don't want to be all theological because sometimes the wordiness, sometimes the technicality can actually complicate more things. And we at the Altura, we want to speak the truth in simplicity that will produce in you a transformation that supersedes your expectations. That's what we want. We want that for ourselves and for you as we are one in Messiah, Yeshua. Okay? Jesus says again, I do what pleases him always. I just want to go to another verse. Let's go to 2 Corinthians. And this is written by someone who experienced this love relationship. Paul was a persecutor of Christians. He was a blasphemer, but he says, it's by the grace of God I am what I am. It's by this relationship that is confident filled off of his ability in me that I am able and empowered to do what pleases him always. That's who we see Paul is. And every letter, Paul is writing out of the truth of that relationship, not out of his own experience and what's accessible to him, but what's accessible to the people of God. He's like a good uncle. that comes just bringing gifts. He's like the uncle you want that on the uncle's birthday, the uncle comes to you and say, tell me what you want so that I can buy you something and bless you on my birthday. See, we think we receive gifts on our birthday, but Jesus and these men that followed him, they are the ones that brought gifts on their birthday. Because it's better to give than to receive. Paul says in 2 Corinthians 5 and verse 9, he says this, so whether we are at home or away, we make it our aim to please him. Man, that is phenomenal. Wherever we are, we make it our aim to please him. I want to end by reading 2 Corinthians chapter 3. And I'll start in verse 1. We're just reading. There's no real aim other than for God to do in us what his word says as we grow in our understanding of this wonderful relationship. He says, he tells this church, are we beginning to commend ourselves again, or do we need some letters of recommendation to you or from you? Paul says, you yourselves are our letters of recommendation. Why? Because the gospel was preached to them. They heard, they were converted, and the testimony is bearing witness among them. They're able to see. So Paul says, we don't need letters of recommendation from others. You are our letters of recommendation, written on our hearts to be known and read by everybody. And you show that you are a letter from Christ, delivered by us, written not with ink, but with the Spirit of the living God. That's the empowering factor, is the Spirit in us. Again, not on tablets of stone, but on the tablets of human hearts. Listen, if the heart is broken, the perception, the understanding, everything is broken. If the heart is damaged, it affects everything. If the heart is whole, then everything is clear. I don't know if you all know, but look this up. Doctors have actually found out that the heart has a neurological system like the brain. So not only does the heart beat and stuff, but the heart has a brain. It has a thinking. That's how come oftentimes we can't describe how we feel, but we know it. We try to articulate it, right? That's how come a crushed heart affects the body. It affects everything. Okay, let's go on. Verse 4, such is the confidence that we have through Christ towards God. Not that we are sufficient in ourselves, right? We're not claiming that as anything coming from us, but our sufficiency is from God, who has made us sufficient to be ministers, servants of the new covenant, not of the latter, but of the Spirit, right? For the latter kills, but the Spirit gives life. Now, if the ministry of death, he's talking about the old covenant, carved in letters on stones, came with glory, that the Israelites could not gaze at Moses. They couldn't look at Moses at all because Moses would spend time with God in the relationship, in the secret place, and he would come out glowing. And the Israelites said, we can't even look at this guy. He's just so bright. They had to put a veil over his face. He says, face because of its glory, but was being brought to an end, will not the ministry of the Spirit exceed it in more glory? For if there was glory in the ministry of condemnation, the ministry of righteousness far exceeds it in glory. Indeed, in this case, what once had glory has come to have no glory at all because of the glory that surpasses it. For what was being brought to an end came with glory, much more will that which is permanent. The relationship is permanent. Once you're in, you're in. In regards, hear me clearly, in regards that you abide, like we read, like you abide, choose to abide in him, in that love towards you. Take it very personal. Abide in his love for you. Since we have such a hope, an expectation of good, Paul says we are very bold. Again, that's the confidence. Not like Moses, who would put a veil over his face so that the Israelites might not gaze at the outcome of what was being brought to an end, talking about that way of God's dealing with his people. But their minds were hardened, for to this day, when the old covenant is read, that same veil remains lifted. Because only through Christ is the veil taken away. Only through you taking him very personal is the veil taken away. Yes, to this day, whenever Moses is read, a veil lies over their hearts. But when one turns to the Lord, the veil is removed. Now the Lord is the Spirit, and where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom. He says, and we all with unveiled face, beholding the glory of the Lord. Your relationship empowers you to see Jesus in all his beauty, in glory, and mercifulness, and graciousness, and benevolence to us. He doesn't have the slightest desire to hurt us. He'll never use us. He'll never abuse us. He'll never toss us like trash after we've done something for him. We've all experienced that to some degree, to maybe. Majority of us have experienced that to some degree. Jesus wants us to fully rely. He gets excited and has joy when we come to him and receive from him. And in doing so, in coming to him, the veil is lifted. It's just like when a woman is getting married, she has a veil on her face. And then when it's time, the veil is lifted and the husband sees what he has. And for some men, they see greatly. And for some people, they're a little sad. I'm just kidding. But the veil is removed, and we are empowered to see him as he is in his beauty and glory. Because of that, we are able to see the Lord. Paul goes on to say, we are being transformed into that same image. From one degree of glory to another, for this is from the Lord who is the Spirit. Let me reiterate it. A Christian is one who is transformed and is empowered by a confident-filled relationship in which they are empowered to please God always.